Don't go away. Today's video is going to be on proper storage of your comic book collection. Dad's comic book haul. My dad got these for me. And I've got quite a few here, but I just picked out a couple that I'm going to put into protective sleeves with the backboard that came by themselves. You can see like this, some have not been too well protected. But there's a couple of things that I will show you. For example, in this one here, now this one was in here. However, if you see along the side, the edge has been crimped and pushed over. Now, obviously it's too hard to get hands down in there. So if you have an edge that you have a problem, you want to straighten it out and you can't undo the damage, just take something like a ruler, slip that down in there, and that's what I use to smooth this edge out to keep that protected. Now, this particular one did come with a sleeve and a backboard. So all I'm going to do is take a small piece of tape, put this fresh back on the back, and that edge has already come up again. So we're going to do this one more time. Have you see what I'm doing here? Keep that pressed down. So I'll have to keep an eye out on this upper corner on this particular one. Now, I got a couple others here that I chose only because I just found something unique about them. This one here, not because the cover is in such poor shape, but this one was actually published in, I'm not sure how well that is going to show up, 1963. So this comic book is actually 3 years older than I am. And fortunately, the inside is still in pretty good shape. But as you can see, the front has quite a bit of damage. So to prevent further damage, I have my comic book sleeve. And I have the backboard. So I'm just going to slide that right down inside. Slip the comic book in just like this. And make sure it's all smooth around the edges, that nothing has been pushed up. Now, as far as storage, there are a different size comic book boxes. There's some that are about a foot long and others that are a couple feet long. I use the foot long boxes, and how I decided to organize mine, only because I have quite a number of them, is by year, because I have got about 10 boxes now, which means that if I want to keep them all sorted by title, the hard part is I have to open up all the boxes, spread them out, and then resort them again. So I do them by year. I have scanned these into my computer. So at the end of this video, you're actually going to see all of these comics in the form of still pics. This particular comic here, even though I no longer read Spider-Man, I've always been kind of a fan, but you can see here on the upper edge, one of the pages inside, someone has apparently, I would say, glued back in because it's been pressed so long that I don't dare at this point. Let's try it. We're gonna try something because I see a little bit of Scotch tape on there. And that's not being too promising, so let's set this down. Oh, look at that. All right. There's the top. I'm going to do the bottom. Now, the last thing you want to do in a comic is when you're reading it, you do not want to push down like this. That is just a no-no in the comic book world. So actually, I didn't think that this page would flatten back out. Someone has put Scotch tape to hold that together. And like I said, I'm electing not to Scotch tape in behind here. I'm just going to put this in. Slide this right in. And actually, I'm just curious. I didn't look to see. This one's 25 cents. Let's see when this was published, if I can find the date. I know some of the companies put them in the front. Some put it in the back. Is it on the front? It is not on the front. Maybe a few pages in. It has to be somewhere. All right, I'm going to pause the video for a minute and see if I can find that date for you. All right, so I've gone through every page and I have not been able to find the year in which this particular one to publish. So it leads me to believe possibly the page might be missing in the front where someone's had it taped out. So I'm still going to put this in. I can do a little research on this one. I know that it's 25 cents, December, and I'm sure eventually I can find when this one was published. So I'm going to slide that in. A little bit of tape on the back. All right, I used to watch a show called Dark Shadows. Sometimes the easiest way is just to lay this flat, slide this in. I don't know how many of you will remember the 70s. Dark Shadows was basically the soap opera version of a vampire show. This was published in, it says copyrighted 1975. I'll slide that right in. So I've spent quite a few years, like I still read comics. I've kind of pared down to just a few titles now because where comics used to be $1 or less each, now some of them are running $3 and $4. So it does create a little bit of a hindrance of the titles that I used to read. 25 cents. Comics are not 25 cents anymore. All right, and last but certainly not least, one I've actually never read and never even heard of this comic before. So if someone out there has heard of this, I would welcome any comments. Have you read this? I haven't even looked to see if the series continued printing. This one was $2.99. And let's see if there is a published date. Like I said, some put it right in the front, some put it in the back. July 2016. So this is actually a pretty recent one. It's a number 1. I don't know if it'll become worth anything at all, but we're still going to put that in a sleeve. Paste the tape on the top. So if you like this video, if you're a comic book enthusiast like I am, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. At the end of this video, you will see all of these comics in the version of still pics. It's about 4 minutes long, so you can scroll backwards and forwards. Unfortunately, they're not in any alphabetical order.